Got like a 6-foot plane here, and I'm trying to fly it through a ring of fire, and it kind of stalled out. Do you think it's true that a localized pocket of hot air would lead to lower air pressure that would cause my plane to stall? Yes, it is true that the localized pocket of hot air could lead to lower air pressure, which could cause your plane to stall. Hot air is less dense than cold air. That actually makes sense, so it rises. This rising air creates a region of low pressure below it. That's like exactly what happened there. I think this actually helps keep our pressure at max. And then we're just gonna like dart right into it as opposed to like the high stall out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Full power, baby, 1300, let's go. 3, 2, 1, hit it. Oh, that's the one, that's it, that's it. Yeah, through the ring. Normally, it takes like a year for me to go from idea to a final build like this. This only took us 3 weeks, thanks to Bard. Massive time saver for every step of the process. Incredible creative collaborator right in your pocket. Okay, time to wrap this up. Actually, let's do it this way. What's a good outro for a Mark Rober video? Subscribe for more science experiments and explosions. I'm Mark Rober, and I approve this message. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and a fire extinguisher.
Over the last year, large language models, parameters, fine-tuning, grounding, all these terms have come into everyday parlance, but do we really understand them? I want to check how I'm doing, and to do that, I'm delighted that we've got Karim Ayoub, who is a technology strategist from Google DeepMind, who are building and at the forefront of large language models and their use. So Karim, let's take a step back and help us understand, like, when we're talking about building a large language model, what on earth does that mean?
Certainly. And large language models, or LLMs, are very complex AI systems. So we should take it step by step, and we can liken it to how we might build a house.
Well, that sounds like something I can relate to. So take us through. So where do we start?
So we start with these amazing research innovations from across Google DeepMind, the broader Google, and also the broader industry, and really bring that together into a vision for the kind of LLM that we want to build. Maybe we determine the size of the LLM or the capabilities that the LLM will have.
So the research you're talking about is sort of computer science research that leads to these breakthroughs like transformers models and how we understand language, as I read about it.
Exactly. And we bring all of that together to really set the fundamental architecture of that LLM. And in a similar way, when designing a house, we might start by asking ourselves, what kind of house do we want? Do we want it to be a cozy cottage or a sprawling mansion or maybe a modern apartment?
So it's almost like an architect's brief. We haven't got the detail. We've got a vision of like a Frank Lloyd Wright mountainside, beautiful property overlooking a lake, and that's where you're starting.
Exactly. And the next step in building an LLM is to set the initial parameters of the LLM.
The initial parameters, what do you mean? So
you can think of parameters as the numbers that define the inner workings of that model. It could be how the model interacts with itself and how information passes throughout that model in order to elicit those amazing capabilities that we see down the line.
So the parameters are a bit like the sort of blueprint of a house?
Spot on. So at this point, we've determined that maybe we want this kind of cozy cottage. We then draw up the blueprints, which will determine the positioning of the windows and the doors, the thickness of the walls, and the layout of the various floors.
Okay, so it's a high-level schematic of what the model is going to be like.
Exactly. The next step in building an LLM is, we've determined the kind of LLM we want to build. We've determined the initial parameters. We now need to go and gather the raw data to train the LLM. And the data is really important because the LLM will then read through that data, which could come from the internet, code, or other sources. It'll read through that data in much the same way that a human would in order to gain knowledge.
Right, when you're talking about this sort of getting the data, training the model, large really matters, doesn't it? We talk about lots and lots of parameters. So what's the scale of these?